Hello everybody, how's it going? It is Tuesday and I think everything is actually working properly. We're only 5 minutes late, which seems like it's okay. So I need to know, can everybody hear me okay? Is everything looking alright? Does sound good? Got glowy gates behind me, are they too offensive? All these questions and more I have for you. How is everyone doing today? It is, oh, it's Wednesday. It is Wednesday. Did I say that? Maybe I didn't, but it is Wednesday. Awesome. Good stuff, good stuff. So this is a general chat about FPV. We can kind of talk about anything you guys would like to talk about. I'll take questions, comments, or concerns about FPV. I'll also take grow questions. I'm a cannabis grower. I have been and consultant for businesses. I do HVAC, IT, PLC programming. Got a lot of information and stuff. Normally I read the chat, so I think we're going to go through that and just see who's here and see what's going on. Let people get in the chat. So Nico is here. Larry, Travis Stevens, Damon Barnes, Crack a FPV, not G10. Let's see. Christopher Hopkins. Wonder if Cyberpunk 2077 is the cause. Not today. It was on the Bardwell stream. I do FPV news with Joshua Bardwell. We did that yesterday, and I had some crackling audio because my audio was set to 44 kilohertz instead of 48 kilohertz because Cyberpunk 2077 crackles at 48 kilohertz. So what are you gonna do? Oh, let's see. Lawrence Martin's here. Chuck Toast is here. Travis Simon. Blame the tools. I agree. Blame the tools. Arstang. How's it going, man? D Hard Jonah. Cage Drummer. JB Rocket FPV. Get Seeds right here's in the house. Just because. Archangel BVTV. Chuck Toast asks, is there a Discord for this? There is a Discord for this. I will put a link in the chat if anybody would like to join my private Discord. Let's see. It is open for anyone to join. There is a patron-only section if you decide to become a patron. But of course that is not required. I will just make a new link here. It does not expire. Paste that right in the chat for you guys if you're interested in joining my Discord. The patrons have a live stream hangout section. Anyone is welcome to join and talk in the general chat. All right, let's see. Where were we? YouTube chat jumping around as always. Glad to see that it hasn't changed. Pedro Tome's here. Daryl Hickman. Christopher Hopkins. I think I said that. Airbender. Travis Simon's here. How's it going, man? Said, love the gates. Where's our main man, Henry? He is sleeping in the hallway. Hold on, I will give you a... let's do a little adjustment here. You can find Henry. He's hanging out over there in the hallway. But maybe he'll get a little closer on the bed for us later. Gates might be a little much. Yeah, they might be. I'm not sure. I actually got the gates for review. The gates are going to be, they're from We Bleed FPV, Jeff Grabowski. Sound might be a little low. If that's the case, I can bring the sound up a little bit. Let's try it. Moving up here a little bit. And to one of these guys. And a little bit like that. And see if that's any better. Okay. Mike Menace is here. How's it going, Mike? Cody Seals. Henry is doing very well. Nico has an FPV question. Can I use ESC telemetry for battery current draw? Just RX instead of current pad? I believe that's the case. But these days, I would recommend you just use BL Heli bidirectional D-shot. Current draw. Rather, on modern FCs, they typically have a shunt resistor, and you can just get it off the flight controller. It's going to be pretty accurate because there's a shunt resistor there. So that's what I would say. You just got to calibrate it. I believe ESC telemetry carries temperature, RPM the slow way instead of bidirectional D-shot, which carries it the fast way, and temperature, RPM, and current. I do not ever use it anymore, though. 5 o'clock summer says, hey, Bunty, missed you last Wednesday. Yeah, I had some personal stuff going on last Wednesday, so wasn't able to get in here. Zach Carzali says, motor efficiency. All right, that's something. Okay. It's 5 o'clock summer says, have you ever heard of Blueberry Goddess? Nope, not offhand. ADP Fund says, thank you for helping me on Bardwell's Discord this morning with my SPI receiver. Always happy to do that. BVTV says, no super chat yet. I am, quite a ways away from a super chat goal. I think I'm about 1,800 viewed hours. We need 4,000 for that, so going to be a while. I do have a private donation link if you guys wanted to give me Streamlabs money directly to PayPal. That is in my link, but there's no pressure there at all. There's also a Patreon, but of course, again, no pressure at all. So, Purple Princess straight on the menu tonight. That's awesome. I am smoking, let's see, I got to remember the things because I don't keep the bottles. I just put them in a thing. Do I have the bottles? No, I don't. Ghost Dog is one of them. And Miracle Alien Cookies, or the Mac is the other one I have. I'm a big flour guy, so mainly have flour. Let's see. Six pack 1946 says, have you tested the TBS Tracer yet? I have not. I do have a Tracer unit. I'm trying to decide if I want to keep it or sell it. I do have a store. We sell quadparts.com. And yeah, you can go there and check out my stock. I have some Tracers in stock, but I pulled one for myself. And I have not decided yet if I'm going to use that or not. So I don't know, man. I already have Crossfire. It seems to work great. It's kind of hard for me to decide. Maybe I'll listen to what you guys think. Have you seen enough Tracer information? Do you think enough people are using it? Do you think it's worth switching to? I obviously know pros and cons, but curious to see what you think. Static FPV, cool whoop gates. I appreciate it, man. Again, the We Bleed FPV gates, they're pretty neat. Let's see. Where are we going here? Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Crunk says, yo, yo, yo. Hey, Crunk, how's it going, man? JB Rocket FPV, how to start growing indoors, just like tomatoes. Relatively speaking, yeah, it kind of depends on whether you want to do soil or cocoa perlite or hydro. I think the easiest is cocoa perlite or soil for a new grower, probably like a no-till soil. There's some good forum resources. There's some good Reddit resources. I would just, suggest you start educating. If you grow them like you grow tomatoes and you don't super know what you're doing, there's a lot of times where you're going to get a subpar yield because a tomato can't rot from the inside the same way. Like, it doesn't matter how moist a tomato is. There's Henry making some noise for us. Let's see. HB says, yo, yo, yo. Let's see. Do you have your Freon license? Chuck Toast says, I do have my 608, the one that lets you use refrigerants. Yeah. Matthew Subbs says, hey, how's it going, man? Zach says, we could chat about we need to change battery shape to allow for better discharge ratings. I'd love to talk about that. I don't know anything about it. If you have any information about that, I'd be happy to listen to it. Damon Barnes says, just looking at Cyberpunk makes my PC nervous. Yeah, I have a 2080 Ti. It's going pretty well with that guy, so. Let's see. ATL Georgia. Static says he's from Atlanta. A lot of FPV guys in Atlanta, that's for sure. BVTV says, how do we become moderator? Currently, basically if I know you, or if I know you from the chats or whatever, if you hang out a bunch, I'm happy to make you a moderator. Just show that you're cool. Brandon's Big Beans is here. How's it going, man? Not G says, want a glide frame on CID stream yesterday, and now I need a decent Canadian-friendly, well-priced part list to build it out. I cannot help you with Canadian-friendly. Building out an analog parts list. I don't know, man. I'm flying DJI almost exclusively at this point. I have analog stuff, but it's all small. So I'm not sure what I would put on a 5-inch quad at this point. Probably like a TBS Unify, something like that. Diatone F7 or Diatone F4, like a F50 stack. Probably like 1900 kV motors, and then run 4S or 6S, whichever you like. I like running underpowered on 4S and running 6S motors. That's just me. Larry says, Munster cheese is really good for grilled cheese. That sounds delicious. I would get all over that. Daryl Hickman, hello from snowy Connecticut. Awesome, man. BVTV, how much do you make from Patreon so far? So I actually have that public if you want to check it out. I can always see that. I don't really hide it. I think it's like $117 and some odd cents right now, which is awesome. It's paying a little chunk of that bill every month, and makes it easier to do this kind of stuff. So I am trying to get into more making videos. It's just hard for me to get videos out because sometimes I don't feel like they're great quality, and I don't want to put out anything poor for the community. So. I will be reviewing the gates behind me, the We Bleed FPV LED gate combo. It is expensive, and that's one of the reasons I want to check it out and see, is it worth the money? So far, it feels really durable and quite different than other gate kits that I've seen. I have the Newbie drone gates as well, you can see over here. But yeah, I'm interested to see how they fare and how they hold up. So I'll be doing a full breakdown of that in that review. Aber the Ham is here. What's up, Aber? How's it going, man? Travis Simon. I've been flying JB's dope purple motors that have now been discontinued. Any recommendations? Price less important than quality. I think most people would say good motors are like T-motor. I like the RCM Power Smooks. It's like a $23 motor. Nubidrone has the smooth motors, which seem pretty decent, and you can get them at a good price. I know price isn't important, but Emax Eco 2 is really cheap, and they seem quality. Kind of just depends on what you're looking for. I'm sure everybody's going to have their own opinion of which motor they like, but those are kind of the ones on my list. And also FPV Cycle, anything they make. But I don't know what the 5S motors are looking like from the FPV Cycle lineup right now. We can check that out maybe here in a bit and see where that's at. Travis Stevens is asking for the Henry cam. Well, that's a good timing because he has arrived back in his bed area. And there he is for you. Yeah. Hi. All right. So Henry cam is back up. Oh, Leston's here. How's it going, man? Cage Drummer says Discord link. If you scroll up just a little bit, I've got it posted there for you. Crunk, talk about the new FetTech drift car. I don't know anything about that, but sounds very weird and interesting. Why not? Let's check it out. FetTech drift car. Oh, is this a project? Hold on, let's flip over here. Which desktop do we want? This one? Nope. Nope. Yep, there we go. Looks like a project FetTech drift car by FetTech. That's interesting. This is a simple, ready-to-build FetTech drift car. Chassis, where you the mini FetTech AIO 15 amp board. So that's a new board that just came out from FetTech. Let's pull that up too. Let's see. Go through Facebook to find it, right? Aha, here we go. No audio. I just get an idea of what's going on here. Huh, what a cool little project. That's an interesting little project. You can print out this car, throw the new FetTech Mini AIO in there, throw a Lion cell on 4 motors, 2004 brushless. Interesting. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Thanks for that recommendation, Crumped. There's the Henry came back. Mr. Sleepy Henry. Only Henry. Why you keep saying my name, dog? Alright. Where's my chat? Alright, where are we here? Spider Monkey FPV says, Texas here. Awesome, man. Aerospace. Hey, Blunt T. I am looking to upgrade my soldering station. I want something with lots of different size tips. 12 gram, 12G to tiny whoops. Any suggestions? Thanks. I would probably just buy a tip kit for whatever soldering station you get. You can find them on Amazon or anywhere. Most of the tips are standard sizing. My soldering station is a AWE. Man, I always forget the name of it. 8 something. I gotta look at it again, don't I? Let's see. AWE soldering station. I think it is is it this one? Nope. We'll find it eventually. Micro Center, and then we'll show you once we find it. Wow. Cool. Here we go. Flip over to the screen. Alright, so this is what I have. They don't actually call out the model here, but you can see the model is a 968A. Iowa, I don't know how to say that. I'm not going to try anymore. I like this little station, but it did come with, as you can see, a ton of little tips here. But I believe these are standard sizing. You just unscrew this guy and pull the little piece off, and then you can slide any of the tips on the thermal element, just like that little thermal element there. And I believe that's the same for most soldering stations, so you should just be able to buy a tip kit. Back we go. All right. I'm remembering to switch. We'll see how long that lasts. Dan Richmond's here. How's it going? Travis Simon says, open for Popo Pro. I've never used Popo motors. Heard mixed reviews about Popo and compatibility. I think it depends on like prop tolerance, something like that, right? Whoopgate's looking great in the background. Awesome, man. I wasn't sure. I'm glad to hear that. ED Turtle says, I wouldn't mind being a mod. I will allow him to be a mod, that's for sure. I hate YouTube chat so much. Oh boy. If you've never used YouTube chat on this side of YouTube chat, or if you've never tried to scroll up in YouTube chat, what happens is, as the chat updates, it jumps to the bottom again. So, trying to catch up, you just skip everything. It's pretty cool. All right, we're going to manually move the thing and see if that makes a difference. Airbender FPV says, Kebab sent Bardwell that baby tooth with 130275 11,000 kb. Where are those motors at? I want them. They're coming out eventually on FPV cycle. Yeah, he just hasn't put them up yet, I don't think. We can check, but as far as I know, they're not up there. Can shout out FPV Cycle real quick. It's not like that's hard. This is FPV Cycle, fpvcycle.com. This is Bob Ruge's website. He's the one who made the baby tooth with the 1302.7 motors that Bardwell just reviewed in comparison to the Savage Bee. But he does not have them up yet. So I would just hold out for those motors to come up here. It should be any time. I assume he's waiting on something. You'll probably check in the FPV Cycle Facebook group. Look at this. 84 concurrent viewers. Awesome, guys. Good to see that. All right. Where are we now? Didn't jump this time. I just lost the spot. Copter612 says, how do you feel about autoflower strains? I've never grown an autoflower. Any commercial grower typically doesn't do autoflowers unless you like have a local seed guy you're like buying seeds from directly or something. So I only do clone onlys or like seeds for the start and then keep going. So I've never really grown an auto. To me, it's time limiting. So I don't really see a point in growing an auto for a normal plant because you can just flip it anyway and you can grow it to your specifications. I'm sure people will tell me why they're great, but that's been my experience. Travis Stevens says, okay, what's the best way to support? I think you saw that I answered that probably around the same time you asked it. But yeah, Patreon down. Hold on. Let's get the Discord link again for people. It does look like they missed it. Never expire. One more time. We're going to post that in there. Boom, boom, boom. But yeah, so Patreon or direct donation right now is the best, and eventually watching videos on my channel is good too because I'll be able to monetize there. Yeah. Cody Seal, flower guy here as well. Yeah, man, I have tried to do dabs and stuff, but it just doesn't work too well for me, so back to flower. Brecca FPV says, where you at, bro? I am in Colorado. In Denver. I feel like I missed a question earlier. Maybe it'll come up. I know I saw it, but something about have you ever flown with any of the FPV groups in Denver? I have a couple times. I'm just on a big flyer with other people. One or two people mostly is the best I would like. But yeah, maybe we'll do a meetup someday. Michael Rollins is here. Hey man, how's it going? That's so awesome. I'm gonna put you in blue so people can see you're here. Thanks for stopping by. What do I think about Tommy's motors? The Aero Light, I'm sure is what you're talking about. Let's look at those. Middle screen. Okay, that's of course, yeah, there we go. Oh my God, Aero Light, 2004, 2400 kV. I think these are really cool. Tommy has been doing a lot of work on motor design, and he spent a lot of time with manufacturers, and he got a motor that he really likes. You can see the notches that they cut out of it to get the extra weight, but not sacrifice frame integrity. And I'll tell you, if there's one person who I've seen who will fly the shit out of something and break it if it's going to break, that is Tommy Amagad. So I do believe that these are going to be a super high quality bearing, or super high quality motor. You know, this motor has a 3mm shaft with a custom oversized 843 bearings. So for the maximum bearing that he can get on this motor, I would probably just buy these and without even trying them, because I bet they're a really high quality motor, and if they're not, he will support you if they're not. But I bet these are excellent motors. So that's what I think about them. I might try them. I don't really have a good application for them, but I might give them a shot. Flip over here. Back we go. Pow, pow, pow. Where were we? Mike Minute, smoking on some Mac myself, one of my favorite current strains. Yeah, man, I really like it. It's like a savory strain, I guess is the best way to put it. I love it. HB says, I don't think it's worth switching. I assume you mean Tracer. Crack FPV says, man, I'm really behind. FPV says it's only beneficial to racers. Freestyle guys want a distance versus lower latency. Yeah, I agree with that. I'm just interested to see if I can feel it. I run 50 hertz crossfire right now. I'm really interested to go 5 times that or whatever and see how big of a difference that is. Twisted Tinker Gnome is here. How's it going, man? I've never seen you here before. Happy to see you. Home grower, hash dab, edibles buds, 50-year-old big head, personal but shares. That's awesome, man. Edibles, I always just fall apart. Larry, some huffing flux smoke. Man. Travis's chat is way behind you. I'm trying to catch up, man. You guys are talking so much. Bill Grimes, do you plan on getting Tango 2 non-pro? Yeah, my next order from TBS will be Tango 2 non-pros, because I have a lot of requests for those. So, Jacob Nizam says, what do you of flying FPV wings? I've never flown one, but I have one to build that other people, or to fly that other people have seen here that's been built. I still have not made that. Sure people here will continue to remind me of that until I do it. Yeah, well, I don't know. I'll let you know as soon as I made a wing. That's for sure. What's your go-to radio for FPV? I use a Jumper T16. This guy here with the Carbon, the V2 2019 version. I think right now anybody should either be using a T16, a TX16S, or a Tango 2. Those seem like the quality options right now. That's what I would recommend to anybody. So I'll be knocking this mic around here. Lots of shout outs for Speedy Turtle in the chat. How's it going? Static says, I think Crossfire is good enough for myself, and most who already have it, but if I was new, I may have gotten the Tracer. Yeah, I agree. I think that's kind of where most people are going to be at. Medrone, I was wondering what your go-to quad is. Right now, it's a Skyliner HD with DJI air unit in it, just because I built it with an air unit when it was out. Yeah, I think that's probably my favorite quad. The TP3, Toothpick 3 from Kebab with the 1303 5000 kV motors is also killer. Yeah, it kind of just depends on how I'm feeling. But if I want to like actually freestyle a 5-inch, the Skyliner HD, I know I can just throw anywhere. It's not going to break, which I love. So, Get Seeds right here reminds chat that I beat Cyberpunk on hard in 22 hours. I did kind of mainline the story. I did the extra story bit, if you guys know what that is, from a side quest at the end. That's not a spoiler because you have to know what it is to know. So, Mike Menace says, I'm barely rocking a RX 580 and it runs Cyberpunk 2077 without any issues. I do not have any of the issues I see all over the place and running fine on my PS4 Pro. I have tons of issues. I had constant issues with the game. I don't know how much of the stream you want to talk about Cyberpunk for. Here's what I'll say. I could go on this for hours about the problems and issues and things that troubled me with Cyberpunk. But for some examples, I was in one of the later quests. I had not saved in 5 minutes or so because it didn't let me, and I got teleported across the world through a boat and killed. And that's just one example. You know, most corners had T-posing people. There was a lot of interactions where people talked over each other constantly. The cell phone will pick up even if you don't hit the pickup button, which is really frustrating because you're getting story exposition. The last story choice for me was opposite of the correct choice, so I had 2 text choices. I picked one, and the characters and everybody reacted the opposite way. Things like that are very frustrating. So, yeah, it kind of kills your immersion, that's what I would say. Chat jumping all over the place. Trying to catch up. Eddie P Fun, what's your next quad build? I don't know what frame, probably Source 1. I need to put a FetTech build together. Crunk's going to yell at me more until I do it. I've had FetTech shit here forever, and I just haven't put it together, so I really got to make that happen. I'm committing to that. Next build is FetTech. I'm committing to that. Hold me to that. Everybody knows everybody in chat. That's awesome. James Laria, glad to be on the live stream. Awesome to see you here. BBTV says, can we suggest video links? I think so. I don't think I blocked links. I will if it becomes an issue, but as far as I know, you can, so. Pretty Fly for White Guy says, those gates are sick. They sure are, aren't they? For anybody who just joined me, those are We Bleed FPV gates. I was giving them for free for a review, so those will be coming up pretty soon. Oh, Henry is adorable, isn't he? Damn Henry indeed. Yeah, Zach says newbie drone flow motors. He might be biased, but I do agree. The flow motors are pretty good motors, from what I hear. Nemesis is here. Awesome to see you. RC Power GTS V2 says crack FPV. iFlight, yeah, lots of choices for those kind of things. Larry says, what's the go-to today for a TP3 AIO for 3S and possibly available? Maybe the iFlight Beast AIO. It's kind of expensive. It's like $70. But I bet that's a killer AIO for the TP3. I mean, you get the F7 for like 70 or the H7 for 90. I don't see a reason to buy the H7 right now. Other choices would be, we got, thanks for a subscription there, Konstantinos Chiotis. That's a hard one to say. Konstantinos Chiotis. Yeah, I'm not sure. There's a bunch of different boards that are decent, but don't hold up very well. The Beta FPV. Some HDLRC AIOs. At this point, I'm trying to think of what I would use. I know there's one I'm forgetting that Bob recommended. Let's go look at FPV Cycle. What is it? JHE MCU, that's what it is. There's a JHE MCU AIO that is probably one of the best ones that's out, or the Diatone Mamba has a 25 amp, I believe is the newer version, and that's probably a good option. That's one I actually sell. Travis Stevens says Henry's bed is better than mine, and he has 2 options. He actually has 2 beds. So when I adopted him, he came with the bigger one, and then I bought him the blue one just so that he felt like he had something that was his. So he seems to enjoy it. Static FPV says, what makes you run 4S on 6S motors? I'm still on 4S for weight, but do you have a 6S? I do have a 6S quad. I fly sometimes on 4S. I love underpowered flight on a 5-inch quad. It just feels really good to me. I think you still have enough authority. I don't typically use the top 30 to 40% of my quad anyway. So for me, unless I'm punching out, so it just trains you not to punch out. That's the way I look at it. So good enough for me. All right, come on, we're gonna catch up. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. What's your opinion if you have one 2207 versus 2306? There's no fucking difference. That's my opinion. Sorry, that's kind of harsh, but there's no fucking difference. Rotor Riot did a video. I hear this all the time. People constantly talk about 2207 or 2306 is better for freestyle or better for racing. It's hot garbage, man. I don't buy that for 1 second. If you watch Vanover in a Rotor Riot video could not pick them out, I do not believe you can pick them out. Sorry, I just don't believe it. Maybe you can prove me wrong in a double blind where you do it 10 times in a row. But I think you can pick them out and you can't. That's my personal opinion. If you bought them from different manufacturers or different KVs or something else is different, maybe. But if they're the same fucking motor, 2207 or 2306 is not a differentiating factor. That's my personal opinion. Let's see. Big Oily Guys here. How's it going, man? Mr. D says, I'm the rare people to 5S. I would not be opposed to trying 5S. I just have not, I don't have any 5S batteries. Raider FPV says, it's smoke time. Sorry, I'm late. It's always smoke time. That's the way I feel about it. Pretty fly for a white guy. I'm about to pull my old Nitro remote control cars and update them to Crossfire and DJI Air Unit FPV cruising. That's awesome. That is a noble thing to do, I would say. Oh boy, chat jumped again. Oh my god, why is it? Oh, there's so much chat. Okay, we can't keep reading everything. It's not, there's no possible way. No possible way. Oh my god. Okay. I'm gonna blast through these without talking about all of them. Let's see. Damone says, I think we need Henry stickers. I'm not opposed to that. Wonder if Henry ever got stuck in the gates before ate them. He is not. He's a well-behaved dog who does not eat things I don't give him. So, oh my gosh, I can't quit replying. Airbender says, have you really only been into FPV for less than a year? Yeah, Christmas will be my year anniversary. So we got about 10 days until my year anniversary of FPV. Maybe we'll do a special video or something. There's 2 Airbender FPVs in the chat. It does appear. That's pretty interesting. You guys can talk about that one. 5 o'clock summer says, have you ever heard of a frame just causing the jello? Yes, absolutely. Crunked will bring that. Crunked, I'm going to mod you. If you talk some shit or ban people, you're losing it, okay? It's a limited privilege, but I do appreciate your help. So, let's see. But the reason I say that is because I went down to Crunk there because he has told me, and I have experienced myself, resonance on the FPV Cycle Glide, the standard version, and the Lite I know also has it. There's some other frames with it as well. He might have better insight into which frames have the resonance, but I would say that it is very possible. There's ways to test that. UAV Tech is probably a good resource for that. He has theuavtech.com, and he also has a private Discord. I believe that's open if you find the link on his website, theuavtech.com. Maybe he can help you a little bit with identifying a frame resonance versus not frame resonance. All right. Gotta catch up. Gotta catch up. Keen RC's here. How's it going, man? Tyler Harris got a turtle in the chat for Speedy Turtle. Larry, always with the jokes. All change our names to Airbender FPV. Please don't do that. 5 o'clock summer says, how can we send you donations until you get super chat? There should be a link in the description of this video for a Streamlabs direct donation. That or Patreon is the best options. Joshua Bodwell is here. How's it going, man? Dog Life says, I just grew an auto and harvested 12 grams. Yeah, that's probably because it didn't get big enough in veg, and then it flipped itself, so. Fat Boy FPV says, autos have stability Hermie problems. I imagine that depends on who they're from and how cold they were. Twisted Tinker says, Autoflower for the easy learn. Cage Drummer says, Autoflower sucks. That's hilarious. Lots of different people, lots of different opinions about autos. Dan Richmond, I just built the original toothpick. Gold AMAX 1103s, awesome. Those are good motors from what I hear. Get Seeds Right Here is in the chat. He has a website, getseedsrighthere.com. If you need cannabis seeds, I'm going to recommend you go to getseedsrighthere.com. And that is just because he is a good friend of mine and he does great work. He sells Ethos seeds and he'll ship anywhere and they're pretty baller. So, CMYK, any advice for dialing in PIDs for 65mm and 5" 3". I'm going to send you again to theuavtech.com and look at his tuning section. Okay, we're going to catch up. Earl Bollinger, I just wanted to say hi. How's it going, man? Pretty fly for a white guy. Excess morning ripping with blunting. I'm not opposed to that. I don't know. We'll talk about it. Let's talk about it. Archangel says, I disagree, Ammo. Autos are great, but they're not the easiest way to learn to grow. So now we've got autos are great, autos are terrible, autos are good for noobs. Autos are, you know, it's hilarious. Everybody's got their own opinion. It can be very unforgiving for beginners as there's no time to fix any mistakes. Yeah, that's the way I think too. If you put stress on it, then it's going to have trouble before it starts to flip. So you're not going to get what you want. Nemesis says, dabs take some getting used to for sure. Yeah, I mean, I definitely was used to them. I did a gram of wax a day when I moved to Denver for quite a while. And then I moved to rosin. I get really cheap rosin through my dispensary because I have an employee discount for life there because I used to work at a grow. Yeah, I prefer rosin if I'm going to dab. But to me, it's just like, it's up and then down, and then I'm like redosing constantly. So I do prefer flower for that reason. Dog Life says, all in the genetics, a Palomine gets a few ounces per auto, for sure. I do know Get Seeds Right Here has some quality autos. Everything he sells is going to be good, so. Lord Wolf's here. How's it going, man? Gonna catch up. D. Hart Jonas has just bought the 1207 5000 kV from Uma. Awesome. Failsafe FPV, 150 hertz all day. I can definitely feel 50 hertz. Interesting. We're gonna find out. I'm gonna find out. I think I'm gonna try it. So, Dan Richmond, grow mushrooms, change everybody's point of view around you. I've done that before. I'm good on that right now, though it is decriminalized in Colorado for small amounts. So. But we're gonna catch up. Crunked is also in the chat. I made him a mod. He is a good tuner. I can definitely tell you that. So he's a good one to answer those questions. I think Crunked also has a tuning service. CrunkedQuads.com? I think that's correct. If you want to pay somebody to tune your quad, you don't want to deal with it. Him or the UAV Tech are good options. James Larry says, Tracer is the way. So that's interesting. BBTV, Air Unit, or Vista? Vista all day long. They need to fix the SD card slow issue on the DJI Air Unit before I could recommend that. I do think that's just too big of an issue right now. So, is that and it's heavier. You're not getting anything extra out of the Air Unit. The second antenna doesn't seem to achieve much in testing. So I would just go with the Vista. Cheaper too. Let's see. BBTV, so disappointed that the low light on the new Nebula is poo. Yeah, it is a disappointment. The old Nebula is fairly good at low light, but unfortunately, does not have a great image. So it sounds like the old Nebula for night flights and the new Nebula for
everything else. If you haven't heard, the Nebula Pro is out for DJI. That is orderable now, and there are reviews by Nick Burns and Albert Kim, at least, that I saw on those. So maybe check those out. Let's see. Gonna catch up. Diatone Roma frame kind of sucks. Just built one. Meh. Cage drummer. Maybe give me some more information. Why is that? FetTech is like a night and day difference from Betaflight running stock settings. Yeah, but I'm running Crunk settings, so not quite the same. But yes, I have heard that many times, and so I'm very interested to try it out. B-Man FPV is here. Yeah, Blunty, how's it going, man? Happy to talk quads or anything you guys want to talk about. I'm gonna catch up eventually. How far away are we? Let's jump down and jump back up. Oh boy. How is it possible? You guys chalk so much. Okay. Let's see. Zach says it's a real bummer because a lot of pilots don't try to learn to tune and end up developing around bad habits and subconsciously fly around their tune. I 100% agree. I think a brand new pilot should not worry about tuning. I think once you understand how to fly a quad and get around a racetrack and corner and start to feel that shake, I think that's when you need to start to learn to tune, which should be pretty early for most pilots. Even having somebody walk you through the process is learning to tune, so seeing what they're seeing in a log, stuff like that. I'm not the best at it, but I could tune a quad. If I had to tune a quad by myself, I could definitely do it. So. Down, down, down. Gotta catch up. Virgil says that's on Vanover. I mean, I would agree with you, but I think if most people are gonna know, he's gonna tell. The biggest, Pretty Fly for White Guy says, the biggest difference I see with motors is number one, flight time, and number two, weight. Feeling the difference is tough. Yeah, I 100% agree. I think they're so close that you're just not going to be able to tell the difference. Don Lads is here. Oh, did we lose the stream for a second? Are we okay? Hold on. Let's check stream health. We are okay. For some reason, YouTube started yelling at me, so just making sure. Nemesis says, gotta put it on slow mode like JB. Yeah, I know, right? We're almost there. 104 people watching, which is more than last week when Ciotti shouted me out. Did Ciotti shout me out again? That is a question I think we have to ask. Stream is healthy, though. Konstantinos Chiodos says, what do you think about the Nebula Pro 1.6mm lens, that over Vista? I do think that the Nebula Pro is probably a good option when paired with the Vista Air unit, with the Vista smaller version of the Air unit. And the 1.6mm lens seems cool. It's 160 FOV versus 150 degree FOV. However, it is heavier by a few grams, so depends on if you're okay with that trade-off. Have you ever been to La Junta? I have not. Crunk says I won't disappoint you. Awesome. Clyde has resonance for sure. So does our Matin. Yeah, that's thank you for reminding me that, Crunk. You did tell me that you think our Matin has it as well. So I do believe that is true. Gonna catch up. Okay, come on. Chameleon. Do4FPV says chameleon. I don't know if you mean because it has resonance or because you like it, but I think that's the one that Crunk says has resonance. But I have a chameleon that I've flown and it's been okay, but I haven't flown it since I've known what tuning is or how a good quad should fly. So maybe that'll be on the list as well. I have like a rip-off chameleon and a real chameleon. We could try those. Krunk says, you know what sucks? Auto timing. 100% agree. Every single ESC I have ever purchased in the last 4 or 5 months, I've immediately changed the timing to medium high in BLHeli-S or auto, or I'm sorry, or 23 on BLHeli-32. There's no reason to be running auto. Auto makes the processor work to try to find the timing, but the timing should be around 23 anyway. Just set your timing. Demag to high as well. Let's see. Brandon's Baked Beans, what are you flying when the weather gets bad? I've been flying the B-Brain brushless. I still have the V1. I have a prototype receiver from Newbie Drone that I still have not tried, and I feel like shit about, so hopefully that'll be coming up. This is a Hummingbird F4 Pro I also have, but it has been falling out of the air for no reason when I tried to fly it today, so that's unfortunate. The gates are set up behind me because I'm doing a review of those coming soon, and that will be part of a series of what I'm going to call probably like 5 or 6 packs a day. We're going to start doing whoop packs, and we're going to start racing around a course inside. We'll change the course every so often and then try to improve on it every day. Maybe like once a week we'll do new course, try to get the best time we can over the week. Something like that seems fun, so we'll try it out. Zach says, actual frame resonance is pretty rare for my 4 years of flying and design, but improper build and improper filter management, loose electronics, and damaged gear are usually blamed for most issues. Interesting. Yeah, I just have seen a lot of logs of the Glide where that actually does seem to have the frame resonance. So, all right, let's get down there. Okay, come on. Twisted Tinker Gnome says, I'm on the seeds. My catalog needs some new flavors. Yeah, those are awesome seeds, man. He's definitely not paying me to shut that out. He's just really, it's good quality, so you don't really have to worry about it. Okay. Veg is most important for autoflow, Bertel says. Unfortunately, you get a limited amount of time in veg, so yeah, gotta use it. Well, you gotta use your time well. Everybody talking about Henry? Of course. Sydney Sparse here. How's it going? Fatboy says, hit me up if you need some ELRS equipment. Fatboy FPV, I believe, has a shop where he is selling Express LRS equipment kits and build your own, maybe. He can probably get some more information. I do believe I have links enabled in the chat, so you should be able to post that. Again, I'll leave the links enabled because I like people to be able to share stuff. Not opposed, just don't go crazy, please, or I will have to stop it. Do4 FPV says, peyote is where it's at in Colorado. There's very few things I haven't done. Peyote is one of them. I've done things similar to peyote, but I've never done peyote. Are we catching up? I can't tell. Oh my gosh. Okay, sorta, maybe. Okay. Blunty, do you know where I can find that Flywoo 4-in-1 ESC that Bardwell has in the Hexi? You guys were talking about it. I'm building my own 3-in-1 or 3-inch hexacopter. I would just reach out to Flywoo on that one. Because I do not know. Or Bardwell. Bardwell answers all of his messages, so you could definitely reach out to Bardwell. Raider FPV says, I don't have those issues with the air unit. You definitely do. Every single person I've ever talked to, every air unit I've ever seen, I've worked on probably over 30 air units, have all had the SD card slow issue after some point. Everybody says, oh, I reformatted my card and it stopped. Oh, I did this and it stopped. Oh, I did that and it stopped. It didn't stop. It stopped for 4 flights or 6 flights or 8 flights. It will come back. It always comes back. DJI has identified this as a known issue. DJI has put it in notes. They've tried to fix it, but it's still there. DJI has sent messages back into support explaining that's a CPU issue on the air unit. I'm really tired of hearing that. I apologize for not trying to single you out, but everybody says it's not a problem with my air unit. I guarantee it is. I guarantee it is. Just fly it enough. Continue to fly it. You will have an SD card slow issue. I promise. I promise. Let's see. Fatboy FPV says MSRP just went up on Vista. I did not know that. How high did it go? That seems strange. Let's see. Okay, gonna catch up. G-Man FPV's here. How's it going? Lucid FPV says, what do you think about the cam on a Tony Hawk Freestyle, the Insta360 Go? Seems like, it depends on what you're doing, I guess. I imagine it adds enough weight that you can feel it in flight, but I have not flown the Tony Hawk Freestyle, so I'm not 100% sure. Mike Menace says, Bounty quick grow question. What would you recommend for spider mites? Unfortunately, we had some pop up already about halfway through flower. That's pretty standard. All right, halfway through flower, you don't have a lot of options. Depends on what you're okay with doing. Boy. So, it depends on what halfway through flower means for you. If you're actually running them the correct length of time, they're probably too late to actually spray anything useful on. I would say you probably went too long before you treated them, because you would know they were there beforehand. I mean, you could do like hot shot pest strips or some shit you could put around the room, and that would help a little bit. They will crawl into those. You know, you could like, the problem is anything you spray is going to get in the buds at this point, and you're kind of fucked. I mean, you could like spray rosemary oil or thyme oil or things like that, but all that's going to be residue on the bud. And so it's a question of, are you okay smoking thyme oil or rosemary oil or things like that? I don't have a good answer, man. Most of the time, especially commercially, when we would get spider mites in any way like that, it was because of a mistake we made too early in flower. We didn't identify early enough. You know, we're not watching consistently and constantly. We're not spraying the leaves versus the buds, stuff like that. So, you know, you can spray oils late in the flower, but just remember, you're going to be smoking those oils. They don't disappear. You know, some people are going to say like Avid or some shit. You could definitely use a systemic pesticide, but it's a question of, is it okay to smoke that? Avid is, I believe, a GABA agonist product, so it works like a Xanax for the bugs so they can't move their mouth, and that doesn't have the same effect when you smoke it, but possibly has other effects when it crosses the blood-brain barrier from the smoke. So it's kind of a personal opinion sort of thing, but it is pretty late, about halfway through, to be using Avid. So. Let's try to catch up. Yeah, Twisted Tinkerno says ladybugs or organics. Ladybugs or like a bug is probably not bad. You'll still have bugs you're going to smoke. It's going to be hard to get them all out and all the wings and stuff out of all the buds. And indoors, it can be a real mess to get bugs everywhere. But there's not a lot of other options. Man, it's just so hard at that stage when you're halfway through. You're right at the wrong spot. If you can prevent them before then by early sprays, like in the first couple weeks of flower, and you can stop them before like the last couple weeks, then you can kind of push through sometimes. Yeah, it's just hard, man. You got to be vigilant and do IPM, which is integrated pest management, which means you're doing things ahead of time instead of at the time. Okay, trying to catch up. Keyboard Cowboys here. How's it going, man? Oh my gosh. Is Bubby here? How's it going, Hey, Bubby FPV. How's it going, man? Bubby is in Rotor Riot videos. How's it going, Bubby? Okay, gonna catch up. Promise I'm gonna catch up. Rush Tank Ultimate is great. Okay. Nope. Jumped again like it always does. How are there more chats now? I think we might have to try slow mode. I think we might have to try slow mode. Or just like skip a section of chats, but I don't want to do that to you guys. Prince Drone FPV says, I have 0 issues with DJI Air Unit SD cards, all 10 or so quads. I can just tell you that I troubleshoot all day long on the Bardwell Discord and have for about 8 months, and I've seen almost every single person come in there say that their SD cards are great, and then come and complain 2 weeks later and say they have the SD card slow error. If you're on version 1.04 or earlier, you will not see the error. The error was introduced in 1.05. You'll instead just see random videos cutting off or having corruption issues. But that's just what I can say. Dan Richmond says set it to medium high on 1103s. Yeah, that's any, from my understanding, that's any motor, because the motors still have the same, it's just 23 degrees. So you still have the same amount of distance on the motor in degrees. Bubby FPV, what prop do you think is good for a 1860 kV motor? So it really just depends on what you're trying to do, I think. I think a 51433, 51466, 51477 is really nice. I'm in Denver, so I like to fly like an S4 or S5 because of the elevation, stuff like that. So, all kinds of subscribers. Tech Time just subscribed. Thanks so much, man. All right, we're gonna catch up. Gonna get down here. Yeah, Failsafe recommends the Ethics S3 or P3. I do have the P3 props in my store and for trial for myself, so I will eventually be doing that. Giving that a shot. Keyboard Cowboy says, what's going on when prop wash happens? I'm not the best person probably to explain that. But I believe part of it is because it's an unexpected response back, essentially. I guess if that makes sense, like the PID loop is not expecting to see the shake from the air movement, so you end up getting the prop wash. And then I think it's also something to do with filtering because it's seeing the gyro movement and thinks it's legit, so it's trying to kind of correct against the gyro movement versus allowing that gyro movement to be there, which would be much smaller. It's like overcorrecting and causing it to wash. And then as you're falling through dirty air, that's just going to happen. But that's different than like prop wash on a turn. So prop wash falling through dirty air is just because you're falling through dirty air. So the air is not the same thickness or density. It's turbulent. And so the props can't get the same grip and do the same thrust through that dirty air. That's my understanding anyway. Crunk giving some great tuning advice in the chat. Appreciate that, man. Oh boy, there's so many questions. Keeson McBride's here. How's it going? So many chats. D4FPV says, you said DMAG medium high? DMAG high. DMAG only has a low and high, I think, as settings. You want DMAG to be high. It should not affect flight at all, but it'll help prevent desyncs, is my understanding. How do you convert the PIDs from Betaflight to silverware? I have no idea, Pilot Extreme. I have never used silverware. I wonder if somebody in chat would know that for you. If anybody in chat knows, please let Pilot Extreme know how to convert those PIDs over. Fatboy FPV says Vista MSRP went up to $159.99. That is rough. I wonder why that is. That's interesting. Okay, jumped again. We are starting to catch up, it does look like. That's awesome. Twisted Tinker Gnome says, Cadex has me excited. Digital rival to DJI. I'll just say I don't know if that's the case for. I'm not sure if that's the case for like the new cameras or anything, or the nebulas. I'm actually not sure where the nebulas are made, but I do know the Vista like unit, the physical unit, is made at DJI, so it's not really competition for DJI. Um, you know, they're like doing the design from what I understand, but DJI is doing the production. However, it's Caddx, so they might be making the camera side of things. Orca is working on low latency HD Kraka FPV. I think that's going to be a really long time before we see that. As soon as we see anything, uh, yeah, I will definitely be checking that out. Tiago Ramos says, what about a tobacco-based pesticide? Again, that's fine, but you're going to be smoking that tobacco. You're going to be smoking that, what's the active ingredient? It's not nicotine. I know you're going to say that, but there's like an actual... Anyway, that nicotine-derived active ingredient that's the pesticide is still going to be something you smoke. So that's a question of like, what are you okay smoking and consuming on your flower? Some people are going to say nothing. It's not okay to do anything. So that's why I say like I do. Okay. Let's see. Trying to catch up. Mold will grow on any damp bud super fast. I mean, that's somewhat true, but you do have to spray buds. So we do lots of late flower sprays just with like water, like a charged water typically, like a pH water, or like a copper infused water with copper ions that you use with the copper ionizer. Those are okay to spray late flower. As long as you have good airflow, you're not going to get mold in the center of the buds or bud rot, unless you're already growing that way. Can you storage parallel LiPo battery? I assume that means can you storage charge LiPos in parallel? The question will be yes, but the problem is you're splitting that discharge over all the batteries, so it's just going to take that much longer. But yeah, you should be able to do that. All right, let's see. Looks like Prince Drone still says he has no issues with air units, but as you can see, Prince Drone, I don't know if you've noticed, but basically every other single person in the chat has said they have an issue with their air unit. So just maybe take that as some kind of information for you. I don't know what magic air unit you're getting, but every other single person here has had that issue. Let's see. Reading desurance. I don't know how to say that. Reading deurance? Who's your favorite glass provider? China is my answer to that one. I don't think there's any reason to buy thick American glass, really. You can buy thick Chinese glass too. I understand, like, okay, cool, it's a US glass maker, we're giving money to US, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, but it's a chunk of glass. Like, it's art, but you're buying art. If you want something to smoke out of, buy something to smoke out of. And that means cheap Chinese pieces. If you can get something locally that's the same price as something from China, that's great. But most of the time, they can't do that. You know, you can buy nice, thick Chinese pieces for very cheap. So that's typically what I do. All right, let's see. We are almost caught up. Oh my gosh, this is insane. L. Leston says, what is the optimal size of motors for a 5-inch frame? That is hotly debated right now. I don't think I have an answer. Traditionally, what I'll say is everybody has said 2208, 22 07, 23, 06, that sort of deal. But I just think that is kind of dependent on. I keep getting hiccups in the stream there, but that's kind of dependent on like what you think, because now there's all these new builds like Omagata is doing this 2004 with the super light cutouts on it. FPV Cycle is going more to this pancake design. Stan FPV is going to like a 2604, which apparently desyncs. So it kind of just depends on what, I don't know who you're going with at this point. I think we're going to see that shake out in the next year or two, and maybe more people fall in line with a certain type of motor or style of motor. But right now, I think it's kind of dependent on what team you're going with, you know? Fatboy FPV says, I think this Cadex raised their price trying to get people to buy the camera, the Nebula Pro. That's fair. What is the Nebula Pro MSRP? Do we know that? Let's see. June Loco, whatever happened to RunCam? They are still making cameras. They made the RunCam Racer 4 not too long ago. Okay. Almost here. Neonicotinoid, that's what Sean Stokes says. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Some of them are bad for bees. I don't know that all of them are banned now for bees. Like Avid is bad for bees, that's for sure, as far as I understand it. Aber the Ham says, how's that guy running a seed business? Ship seeds everywhere, aren't they illegal? No. As far as I understand it, seeds are not illegal because they don't contain THC. The things that are illegal are the cannabis that you grow from the seeds. If you send them overseas, or if you get them in, like in from an outside source, in that case, customs will open the package and they'll dump all the seeds out, and they'll send you the empty packages with a letter that says, hey, don't do that. But they won't actually do anything. So just some food for thought. I've ordered seeds from Europe before, so. 5 o'clock somewhere says, have you flown the Rotor Ride DigiWhoop? I have not. I think it's too heavy. That's my opinion. I'm hoping that eventually we'll get smaller VTX from DJI. No idea if we will or not, but I would at least put a D-Case Vista on an indoor unit, so maybe like a Beta 75X HD with the D-Case Vista might be an option. Fatboy FPV says, I agree about glass, and I'm one of the OG blowers. Yeah, I mean, again, like if you want art, you can buy art. If you want to smoke out of something, then I think you just buy China glass. Mike Menace, thanks for the discussion. I appreciate the help. Awesome, man. Happy to help. Hope we can help anyway. Carlos Hernandez says, who makes the light up whoop gates? These are from We Bleed FPV, from Jeff Grabowski. He sent me these for free for review, and I'll be making a review video in the next couple of weeks once I put them through the paces. Bastian Sonderman, did anything happen on the linchpin? Not that I know of. I have not seen anybody with that, but I don't know that we will find out about the submissions. But I've definitely not seen anybody publicly documenting linchpin work. So, but he says linchpin died. I would expect the linchpin probably is not going to be talked about until somebody figures it out. But yeah, I'm just not sure that that's something somebody's going to do. I still think that there's a good opportunity there for somebody to spin that into whatever. Even though the prize isn't great. But again, I don't really know how much work goes into it. I just have some idea of the work. 5 o'clock somewhere, any good Netflix recommendations? I watched Queen's Gambit. That was pretty good. Everybody says that, but it actually was really good. Fargo on Hulu, if you have Hulu. Fargo is amazing. If you've never seen Fargo, watch Fargo. Do not get spoiled. Just watch it. The new season of Fargo is good. I would definitely check that out. That's pretty much what I've been watching lately. Fatboy FPV is having problems with his site. That's unfortunate. LCV FPV. Best FPV night cameras. I enjoy the Ratel, but in real dark it doesn't do anything. I think there's a Toothless 2 Starlight. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think, from what I understand, that's a really good one. I don't fly much analog, especially at night. The only thing I've really flown at night is the Nebula. So, somebody else said, hold on. Let me get the link for the Discord, just in case anybody else needs it. I'm finally getting caught up to chat. Didn't know if that was ever going to happen. All right. Twisted Tinker Gnome says, I'm programming LEDs and the wife is pissed. Music is loud. Hugh Mongol throat metal. Yeah, I think we know why. L. Leston says, have you heard any improvement in shark bite image due to the new Foxeer camera? No, I have not. I'm still waiting to hear about that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping to see some reviews of that come out pretty soon and see if it actually does anything better to the shark bite. I'm not convinced it will, but that would be really cool if it did. Yeah, Crunk also agrees that Toothless 2 Starlight is the best cam. The new T-Rex is good, but it's $10 more. Caddx Ratel is great as well, but the Toothless 2 is my go-to, yeah. All right, Carlos Hernandez, any links for the gates? Sure, I could give you a link for that. They are fairly expensive. You might wait for my review just to see if they're worth it. I can tell you my initial thoughts are they are really, really, really good feeling. Like if you feel them, if you look at what comes in the packages, if you look at the design, they seem really awesome. However, the problem is, I'll flip over here. These are 3-pack of these are $70, so you're gonna pay for them. They are two-sided. There's a lot of design considerations. Again, I'll go into this in my review. But they do have daisy chains. They have LED controllers. They have like 30 different LED options. Lots of cool stuff. So. There's a link in the chat for that. CMYK FPV says, any resources for board chip layout design info? Unfortunately, I have not done any of that, so I do not know. I would maybe reach out, I'm sinking in my chair here, to Joshua Bardwell and see if he can point you in the right direction. Trying to think of who else is active that can maybe help you with that. Not too sure. Maybe ask in the UAV Tech Discord as well. Sky Scout says, any advice for someone getting a Cinewoop? My advice is to imagine that most Cinewoops are not doing anything for the duct design as far as performance increase. There's very few that do, basically the squirt, and then there's a Colorado guy who does like an improved version of the squirt duct, he says. I've heard that one's good. So, other than that, no. Other than that, yeah, it's just prop guards, so kind of whatever looks the best. JT says, what about the Foxeer T-Rex? Yeah, I've heard good things about that. It does, like Crunk said, I think it's like $10 more than that Toothless 2 Starlight. Kraka FPV says, Foxeer Cat 2 Ultra Low Light. Okay. It's a good option. Dufour says, loving the Ratel. Yeah, just because it's $23 per gate is kind of stiff. Yep, I 100% agree. It's kind of why I wanted to do a review on them. I want to see if they are worth the money. and if I can tell people if they're worth the money or not. Jeff, the owner of Weebly, told me be extremely honest and just give people the, how you feel, and that's the only thing I would do anyway. So I'll tell you if I think they're worth the money. Originally, I would have told you absolutely not. Getting them, I can tell where the money went. I'm just not sure that it's worth it. So, yeah, I'll let you know. Do4 FPV. There is a link if you scroll up. It's just above where you said loving the Ratel at the moment. B-Man FPV says, how long is the daisy chain cable for those gates? It is... Hold. Gotta find out. It is 5 feet. And you can daisy chain the daisy chain cables, but they are 5 feet long. Let's see. Skycout says, thanks for the advice. No problem, man. Happy to help. Fatboy FPV says, for PCB board design, some of the devs on Express LRS Discord are very knowledgeable. Yeah, 100%. I know Alessandro over there is super helpful to people. I'm sure there's a bunch of guys over there who can help. Gary Higgins says, I'm going to get a new stack 6S. What do you recommend? I like the diatone stacks. They seem pretty reliable. Maybe like the diatone F7 or diatone F4, F50 or F60 stack. Let's see. Bubby FPV says Cricket stack if you have DJI. The Cricket stack does look cool. The Newbie drone stacks are nice. Sean Stokes, thanks for the subscription. I have a Newbie drone stack in my Skyliner, DJI Skyliner. So. We're getting a small hiccup in the stream, but I don't know if you guys can actually see that or if it catches itself. All right, let's see. Jan Boo says, hey Blunty, do you do any 3D printing? Looking to get into it myself. I have a CR10S in my closet that I got tired of dealing with a disassembled hot end. So that's where I'm at. I am tired of dealing with it. I had some great prints, and then an hour later, it broke, and then I had to fix this or that, or do the other, or add this, or change this, or fix this setting, or reset the extrusion multiplier, or whatever was happening. So I got a lot of things made and a lot of things printed, probably like 20 hours, 30 hours of printing, so not like crazy. I just got tired of dealing with it, so just a lot of hassle. Eventually I'll go back to it, but not right now. Do4 FPV says, thanks for saying my name is intended. No problem. Twisted Tinker Gnome says Drone Mesh has a course. Now that's interesting. Drone Mesh is one person I would say it's probably reliable enough to do that. That's super interesting. I bet that is worth it depending on the price of that course. Circuit design and like stuff like that is not, it's not going to be the easiest thing to just learn from random sources. So I think having a good source to tell you that is yeah, probably a really good thing. Reading says, how did JB initially approach you to do the news? I bet that was exciting or interesting. Yeah, I just made a couple videos on my YouTube after troubleshooting people on his Discord for like 6 or 8 months. And he just hit me a message and said, hey, I like the videos that you're making. Do you want to make a video together? So we did the new product roundup for like September, I think. Whichever the first one I did with him was, and that went really well. So we decided to do a news show because we had such a good repartee. I think we get along really well. We both are intelligent about the situation, but we have kind of different views and different experiences and stuff, so it works really well. All right. D4FPV still somehow does not see the link. I will post it one more time, but you know, it's my stream. I know it's not getting blocked, so I'm not sure how else I can help you with that. Okay, it's posted right now. It is under Quad Mods FPV, drone mesh comment. So if you can't see it, you can't see it. I'm not sure why, but the links are enabled. Let's see. Bertel says T-motor stack. Yeah, that seems to be a good option. I've not flown much of the T-motor stuff. Somatic FPV says, should I buy DJI FPV today? Let's see. Should I buy DJI FPV today? Yes, I would say so. The V2 should be coming out in 4 to 6 weeks. If you want to wait, you can wait. But yeah, I think it'll be good. Can somebody confirm they saw that link that I posted? I know you guys saw my earlier links because you joined the Discord with them. So I don't know why you specifically can't see that link if you can't. L. Leston says, is the Shendron Squirt something more than a Cinewhoop? No, it is an actual Cinewhoop. The rest of the things that say Cinewhoops are prop-guarded quads. They're not Cinewhoops. The Shendron Squirt's an actual Cinewhoop. That's what I would say. Okay, well, I mean, a bunch of people earlier clicked on the Discord link, so now how did that happen? I'm going to post the Discord link. Can you guys see this link? Carlos says, do see it. So I'm not really sure what's going on there. Cool. This is why YouTube is such a great fucking streaming platform. So trash. Cool. No links. Bertel says, I saw the Discord link after that, nothing. So, okay, I don't understand. I don't know what to tell you. If you can see my chats, then nobody's going to be able to get a link through, so. I didn't change the settings, and Discord links worked earlier in the chat, so I'm not really sure how that is even possible. So, Casey McBride says, I closed the chat and reopened it, and they are there now. I did try just posting in chat at Fatboy. A bunch of people saw it, so they saw the test. Yeah. So, not sure what to tell you guys. Maybe try closing the chat and reopen it, see if you see the links. But otherwise, there's not anything I can really do about that. So, yeah, Speedy Turtle, we can't see that Discord link either. I don't see it from me. So, there's something wrong with YouTube right now. Nothing I can do. Because nobody's links are working. So, good stuff, YouTube. Thanks a lot. No, Speedy Turtle, we cannot see the link you posted. And I do not see the one Pretty Fly for White Guy posted either. So, good times, YouTube. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Good stuff, good stuff. Well, you could go to WeBleedFPV.com. You're just going to have to use your fingers and type it. WeBleedFPV.com. And you'll find the Whoop House Gate Kit. You can order it from them. Brian Malin says, do you turn on your Whoop gate lights manually, or is there a wireless always-on system that can turn on the gate LEDs like an Alexa command or something? So you can... let me think of the best way to say that. Hold on. That's a good idea. Somebody should put it in the description. Okay, I added the Discord link to the description. I'll add the gate kits later. Oh no, what was I just talking about? Oh, Whoop gate lights. You would have to use like a remote plug. So you would have to like basically plug them into like one of those switching plugs. You can buy them at Walmart, and they use like an app, and then have the app controlled by Alexa or OK Google. So if you use 3S LiPos, how long does it stay lit for? I have no idea. That'll be something I have to test in the review. Tyler Harris says, yep, almost $30 a gate. Yep, that's what I was telling people earlier. Like $23 a gate is what it ends up being. They're very expensive. So it just depends on if it's worth it or not. You know, those TBS gates, I think they're TBS gates, the old LED ones, are super expensive. So. Travis Stevens, is there any issues with oversupplying a charger? I have an IDST Q6 Nano that has a max input current of 9 amps, but my power supply puts out 10 amps. Is that a problem? No. Your power supply amperage is just a rating for the max amount of amperage draw you can get. So it'll just pull what it needs because it's a load. So it'll just pull the 9 amps because that's all it can handle. So really what you have is a max input voltage, and then the current is based on the charger. LBFPV says, you plan on going to Rampage. I do not know what Rampage is, to be honest with you. I'll be going to Whooptopia, but I do not know what Rampage is. Rotor Riot Rampage, okay. Fair enough. Let's find out what this is together, why don't we? This is not the correct page. This is from a long time ago. So, I do not know. DJ Dubs is here. How's it going, man? Thanks so much for coming by. Luke Hazard's here. Hey, man. How's my day? My day is going pretty good. I'm glad we're able to actually stream, so that's positive. I was worried some stuff messed up. I didn't stream last week. Had some personal issues. But I'm here for you now. Hopefully we can stream every week from now on. So, yeah. Got our little boy over here sleeping. Our crowd favorite, Mr. Henry. Sleeping away. All right, we actually made it to the bottom of the chat, which is pretty impressive. If nobody has any more questions, for now, maybe we'll let them build up for a second. I'm going to hop over to some topics that I have written. So a couple things I'll say. I have some fairly heavy experience with growing and running a 25,000 square foot grow facility in Colorado legally. So if you guys have any questions about stuff like that, I'm always happy to answer. I'm also big into video games. I just beat Cyberpunk 2077 in about 24 hours, 22 to 24 hours. on hard. We can talk about that. I've got just started playing some EVE Online again. I haven't played EVE Online in a long time, so we're playing EVE Online now. And I also just downloaded a game called Dual Universe, which is like EVE Online meets Minecraft, it looks like, which seems pretty interesting, so I'm going to check that out. Yeah, happy to happy to talk about any of that stuff. So I'm going to rant about Cyberpunk for a minute. I promise no spoilers. I am one of the main people who understand spoilers suck. So I am going to talk to you about Cyberpunk without spoilers. I hope you're okay with that. That's what's going to happen. So I just want to say my overall score for Cyberpunk is 6.5 out of 10. It's all right. That's what I would say. I had some information. I kind of said my piece on Joshua Bardwell's channel, but it's just unfortunate that there were so many issues with that game and the fact that it took so long. So. Yeah, I don't know. The game should have been delayed for like 3 more years. That's what I think. It's just not done. And it won't be done. So, yeah. Aber the Ham says, is it possible to build a PC that's adequate for getting into gaming for less than $500? Probably not. That's my guess. I'm going to guess, like, I haven't tried to build a computer that's around the budget in a long time. There's a good Reddit PC building group that I don't remember the name of. Linus Tech Tips has a really good forum that I would probably check out, who could give you really good advice and on point. But when I was building, you could build for like 700 to 800 was a budget, and anything under that was really just not worth building. And then the next bracket was like 1100. Then you kind of go up from there. So as far as I know, no, there's not really. It looks like chat is agreeing with me now. Brian Malin says, do leaves with calcium deficiency ever get better, or do they stay the same sad spotted mess for the rest of their life? You might see some small improvement, but most of the time you're not going to see any more life put into that leaf by the plant. I like to think it depends on it. If the leaf is going to get way bigger, then yes, possibly. But if the leaf is at its like large size and it's kind of where it's going to be, then no, you're not going to really see any change. So. Robert Rempel says, tuning in late, War Thunder is all my slow computer will play. War Thunder is a lot of people playing that. World of Warships too. I got a lot of people in EVE who also play World of Warships. If you play EVE Online, I'm out in Losec. Living out by Amar in Amy Fency region. Amy Fency system. I did say 3 more years. I do think it really needed that long. It is rough, man. It is rough. Somebody else told me they think that the dialogue was translated from another language. And I would buy that. There's something wrong. Something feels off about it. And that might be the reason. It definitely, they definitely did. If you look, they have localization people on just the US release, which means that it likely did have to have some localization from at least some of the writers. Which you can see in the writing. And that to me fits with what I said before, which is I don't think the storyboard people had much communication with the people who did the game. So Casey McBride says $1,000, yeah. Do4 FPV says, I've seen used gaming FPVs for that. Not GFPV says 500 is used. Yeah, I think you could probably get into used for that. It's possible you could also like buy a system with like an AMD system with an APU or an Intel system with an integrated graphics. That's so not the KF, but like a K processor or standard. And then use integrated for like a little while until you can save the extra $300, $400, $500 for the graphics card. And then maybe you can chunk it out a little better. But I really think you should just try to save up and spend the money. Bumper Likens is here. How's it going, Bumper? Good to see you, man. AJ Kret, best type of grow light for the first 4 to 8 weeks. Classically, I think the answer is always going to be metal halide. I've used ceramic metal halide to some fairly good extent, like 315s in veg. I think they work pretty well versus like a 600 or a 400 watt metal halide. The CMHs, the ceramic metal halides work pretty well with the Phillips bulbs. I think they're fairly decent quality. So Robert Rempel says War Thunder is addictive. Yeah, I've heard that. That's for sure. I think that's another game you can dump a lot of money into too if you wanted to. Mike Menace says R build a PC. That's what I was trying to think of. Build a PC, and your numbers are still pretty accurate. Awesome. Kraka FPV. You played EverQuest before? I have. Played EverQuest before, but only just a little bit. Silas, thanks so much for the subscription, man. Really appreciate it. I have, but only just a little bit. I haven't like put any time into EverQuest, so nothing I can really talk to about it. Do for FPV. I've got my gaming FPV for $50. I don't know how that happened. Gaming PC for $50. No idea what magic happened there, but that's interesting. Tech Time says you can shoot him a message and he will discuss pricing and specs with you. An option. Redding says, I'm going to call you Redding until you correct me. Redding says, why even after watching hours of tuning videos does it still seem like black magic? I think Crunk said earlier in the chat something that rings fairly true, which is that sometimes these videos can really get you off the beaten path, like off where you need to be. You'll kind of get in the weeds, probably is the best way to put it. And maybe you need to pull yourself back out of the weeds. So I don't know if you've ever seen those commercials that are like, forget everything you know about whatever. Well, forget everything you know about tuning. And then watch like UAV Tech 2-pack tuning. Pretend you don't know anything going into it. Go on Black Box log reviews on the Facebook and maybe look at how they're reviewing logs, coming from a place of like, I don't understand anything. The other thing I would say is go look into PID loops. You don't have to look into FPV. Plenty of places explain what a PID loop is. So maybe you can get a better idea of what a PID loop is, and then that can kind of give you an idea of how that's interacting in the quad. At least some more context for the situation. Fatboy FPV says I would suggest T5s for small veg. I like T5s. The problem with any fluorescent tube is just throw distance of the light because it's not point source, so you're not inverse squaring out. Like some of you may or may not know, there's an inverse square law. So as you move out, it's just like in a radio frequency. As you move out, basically 1.4 times the distance. So if you're at 1 foot, if you go to 1.4 feet, you lose half the light. If you go to 2 feet, you lose 4 times the light, et cetera, et cetera. You're inverse squaring down. So in that respect, point source lighting could be better because you're inverse squaring from a point. So 1,000 watt light, 500 watt light, 250 watt light, et cetera, for par, right? Versus that CFL is starting very low across the CFL. And so you're working out from each of those points and you're just dropping a lot of light very quickly because you started with very little in the first place. At least that's what I understand about it. So yeah, just make sure you're getting those T5s up on the plants if you're doing that. DJ Dub says, how do you feel about LED grow lights versus metal halide? LEDs come along far enough these days. I think the problem with LEDs is expense. If you can buy cheap cobs or build your own, I think that's probably a good way to go. The other thing to remember about LEDs is a lot of them are sold as like, hey, this is a 600 watt panel. But really what it means is we use 100 6-watt LEDs, but it may only pull like 120 watts from the wall. That means they're underdriving all those LEDs because it's easier and the heat's more manageable and they can actually build a circuit without frying everything. And so in that case, you're only getting 120 watt light. So just remember when you buy LEDs and when you're buying panels like that, that you need to understand what the actual draw is versus the wattage rating of the LEDs. Other than that, I think LEDs are quality. The throw's a little short because again it's not point source, but other than that I think LEDs have come a long way. The problems are price and panel builds, like the quality of the builds. So all right, we're getting there. AT Crit says, great, thanks. What about filters and fans? Carbon filter, everybody just does a carbon filter and you pull out. So you drop the carbon filter in your room, you put a duct on it, and you put a fan on the wall, like an inline fan. So you're pulling through the carbon out the room and you're doing a negative pressure. Yeah, so you're pulling out of the room. So you're always pulling through the room out. That way no smell can leak out of the room. Because if you do positive pressure, the air can push out of the room, or if you have a neutral. So you want negative pressure. So you're constantly pulling all the smell through all the cracks and everything out of the room. So you can't smell it. And fans, you're just going to buy like a Hurricane or some inline fan. It's just got to be a good inline fan, not like a standard fan. Other fans would be like oscillating fans for the rest of the room. Airflow is super important. Just make sure you're not shaking the leaves too much. The leaves want to be shaken, but at some point you're going to start whipping the leaves and you'll actually hurt them. You start damaging cell walls. Ellen has just subscribed. Thanks so much. Appreciate that. Kelso says World of Tanks. Kronk says EverQuest. Awesome, man. Timothy just subscribed. Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. Really appreciate the subscriptions. Making our way up there. We're just at 1,000 subs like 2 weeks ago. We're already at 1,200, so we're getting it going up. CMYK FPV says, were you ever into Halo? I was heavily into Halo. When I was in high school, we used to do LAN parties all the time with Halo 2 and original Halo, but mainly Halo 2 was like our era. So we used to get together and get multiple copies of the game and, you know, do the, I don't remember the term we used back then, but basically like do a local LAN. That Boy FPV says, if you can find your own activated charcoal, you can make your own cheap filter. Yeah, for sure. You just got to figure out how to, yeah, do some research on that before you go crazy. Let's see. Trying to catch up. Kelso says, Blunty, are you going to Whooptopia? I am. I do have a ticket, and I will be going to Whooptopia. I'm not sure exactly how I'm getting there, what I'm doing when I'm there, but I am going to Whooptopia, so. For those of you who don't know, that is a sold-out event happening in Arizona, I think. Arizona, in either February or March. I don't even know when it is. I think it's February. Ellen, hello, new subscriber. I'm just looking through random videos and chatting on the live chats. Awesome. Welcome to the channel. Do4SPV says, I didn't know that about lights. Craziness. Yep, just some stuff you pick up. Casey McBride says, thanks for all the many times on JB Discord of helping FPV. Happy to help. If I helped you this time last year, I had just started. I started Christmas last year, so. But I'm very happy I was able to help you. 5 o'clock Summer says, do you know if the Nebula Pro camera works with the Vista Electronics? Yes, it definitely does. As far as I know, unless it's going to change for some reason, any of the DJI VTXs like the Vista or the Air unit work with any of the DJI cameras. The Nebula, Nebula Micro, Nebula Nano, Nebula Pro now, and then the DJI FPV camera. Explosive Fruits, thoughts on Source 1 V4. Me and Bartle talked about that a couple newses ago. It seems cool to me. I can't speak to the complaints about it because I've never used that frame. I do have a Source 1 to build that's like a V2, I think. Pretty sure it's a V2. What I will say is because it's an open source frame, anybody can make and print that and sell that. So to me, that's a self-solving problem. If it's that bad, if people are complaining about it enough, they'll just fix it. Fatboy FPV says, careful on negative pressure. It will suck the carbon monoxide out of heater tube vents. Sure. Yeah, if you're in the furnace room, then definitely that could happen. Let's see. Somatic FPV. What about Velocidrome Combat? I need to get a pedal or some kind of button or some kind of way to trigger the weapon with my foot. And then I might try Velocidrome Combat again. I tried to play Combat with just a normal transmitter, and it was not for me trying to hit the switch. So. Mad Maxilla says, do companies produce outdoor crops? Yeah, tons of them. There's tons of outdoor grows here in Colorado. Yeah, most of the time you can buy it as like a sun-grown or outdoor cannabis, but some places also just sell it as standard stuff. Bubba Belair says, what's your favorite strand? So I just want to correct that to strain. What's your favorite strain to work with? I mean, easiest strains to work with are definitely something like a Blue Dream. Sour Diesel is not bad. I mean, there's a bunch of really, let me say this. When I worked commercially, we grew anywhere from 50 to 75 strains at a time. It's hard for me to be partial about a strain. My favorite strains to smoke are anything that smells like burnt rubber, gas, diesel fuel, any of that like OG, so that earthy, like hashy smell. Just really like those. Headband, somebody says headband, I just saw that. Let's see. Yeah, CMYKFPV says February 8th, 2020 is Wooptopia. Nope, that was 2020. So yeah, Brian Mayford says Saturday, February 6th and Sunday, February 7th. Okay. Pretty Fly for White Guy says there are a few people printing 6mm Source 1v4 arms that are super strong. Yeah, like I think if you need anything different for that frame, you can get that printed or find somebody who's going to produce that for you. Jose FPV says, hi Blunty, I discovered you via JB streams. Really enjoy listening to your insights. Awesome, man. Appreciate it. Erie509 says, are you familiar with the CC3D FC? I am familiar with what it is. I have not ever installed one. I know they're very old. I believe that's what came on the Beagle drone's original drone. I think they still sell CC3Ds on their website. Taylor Woodruff says, fire, pine taste for me. Yeah, pine. I like pine. I just typically stay away from like fruits. Even like the savory stuff. Shenanigans says skunk, like a true skunk. Not like the sweet skunk, but like a skunk is what I like. Because, you know, there's the skunk that's like the sweet skunk, and there's the skunk that's like the actual, like, it smells like a skunk. I like the one that's like, it smells like a skunk. Kraka FPV says, where's Wooptopia? It is in Arizona. Not G10 says, freshly subbed on Patreon. Thanks so much, man. Made me a $5 tier. I do really appreciate that. Patreon link is in the description, along with a donation link and a link to my Discord if you'd just like to hang out with me whenever. I'm always there too. Skunkberry growing now? Let's see. Shenanigans says, in Michigan, no skunk. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Flying Ram says, what do you recommend for indoor soil grow? Organic compost tea or chemical fertilizers? If you're growing soil, you should not use chemical fertilizers. You should just use organic teas and no-till and proper composting and things like that. If you're going to grow with chemicals or salt, like chemical fertilizer just means salt. Let's just be clear. There's not really chemicals, right? So the salt, if you're growing with salt fertilizers, I think a cocoa perlite or a hydro makes more sense because cocoa perlite's got a good cation exchange capacity. and it's much easier to feed over time, like with drippers and continually do. Yeah, when you're in soil, you want the whole point of soil is that we're getting slower growth. It's harder for the roots to push through, et cetera, et cetera. But instead, the root will make root exudates, and the root exudates will help with those sugars and things in the exudates, the hormones, will help the right bacteria grow in the pot to eat the organic material in the pot and poop out the salt that the plant needs. At the end of the day, you're still just getting the salt. But the point is, in soil, it's easier for the plant to get the salt because it's controlling the rhizosphere, and the soil is a good place for the microbes to live. Teas are going to help with that too. So, where am I? Speedy Turtle wants me to mention the Speedy Cares package. Speedy Turtle has a Discord. I'm not sure that we can link it. But Speedy Cares package is basically a program where you basically get a box of bunch of shit, bunch of quad parts, bunch of stuff, used, new, whatever, right? That people have decided to put in here. And then you remove whatever you'd like to remove, and you add whatever you'd like to add. And then you're going to pass that package on to the next person so they can get it and they can do the same. And it's kind of a community project to get people around and check it out. So, not sure how we can link that Discord, unfortunately, because none of the Discord links work, but. Tech Time says, are you a sativa or indica man? So, yeah, I don't believe sativa and indica are real other than growth patterns. The things that I look for, like I talked about, are flavors and smells. Those actually affect the high to me much more than sativa or indica. Now, sativas are probably typically more fruity strains. That's probably what grew in those regions. And what traditional sativas are more like those strains, whereas the traditional indica is more short, bushy, and is like a diesel. But that being said, everything now is a hybrid. So I go for terpenes and cannabinoids, but mainly just terpenes when I'm doing my shopping. Like if I buy something that's gassy and smells like crazy and hits me in the nose and burns my nose, I know what high I'm going to get. Doesn't matter where it came from, doesn't matter who grow it. If it has those terpenes to burn my nose, I know what I'm going to get out of it. Could be like me just imagining that, but it's pretty consistent. I smoke a lot of weed, so. Let's see. Erie 509 FPV says, I'm wondering if it's possible to use a Frisky XM Plus, Free Sky XM Plus with, I have an Eachine Racer 250. I want to fly Free Sky. You're the one who asked about CC3D. All you need is an S-Bus pad, or you need an RX pad, but you need to be able to invert it. So really you need an inverted RX pad, which is going to be an S-Bus pad. If you have that, you should be fine. But I don't know enough about CC3D to tell you that. Let's see, lots of people have CC3Ds. Did you see the Jan 8th rumor for DJI V2? Yep, not substantiated in any way. So unfortunately, because I don't have a source on that or any like legitimate person who's told me that, I don't believe it, but maybe it's true. Let's see. Bill Grimes says, aren't there any strains that smell like a fruit growing? Roland, thanks for the sub. And not marijuana. I mean, they might smell more like a fruit, but to me, most marijuana smells like marijuana. Pretty indistinguishable. AJ Kret says, have you heard of the Dynavap? Yes, I have. I've not used it personally, but I have heard of it. I'm not a big fan of vaporizers. I don't think you really get the high. At least has been my scenario, like my experience with it, was I don't really feel like I get the same high as smoking flower. Because, yeah, I don't know. Quadamoose says, Teaming with Microbes is a good book if you want to learn more about the soil biome. Teaming with microbes, teaming with fungi, and teaming with, there's one more. Teaming with plant nutrients, teaming with nutrients. There are 3 books. Those 3 books are by, oh man, I wish I knew the name without looking it up. I don't remember, but I'm going to look it up because this guy is a fucking genius, man. Jeff Lowenfels, there we go. Yes, if you have not read, if you are a grower, especially an organic grower or somebody who cares about organics, and you have not read the book or books Teaming with Microbes, and then also Teaming with Fungi, um, Teaming with Jeff Lowenfels, um, Teaming series books. I just want to make sure which ones there are here. Pretty sure there's 3. Yeah, microbes, nutrients, and fungi. If you guys have not read these and you like cannabis and you are growing, you should definitely read these. These are amazing. These talk about the actual plant interactions that are happening in the pot. One of the reasons I know about what mycorrhizal fungi are, one of the reasons I know that root exudates exist are because of Jeff Lowenfels. I would highly recommend his books. Explosive Fruit says, check on FPV cycle. I'm pretty sure the hammer's a lot heavier than the Apex. Yeah, the hammer is like 25 or 30 grams heavier, I think. Something like that. Let's see. Robert Wimple says, Cindy 99 has very little smell. Yeah, Cindy 99, Cinderella 99 is a good, I think that's like more of a floral scent, so it doesn't quite bite. But what I'll tell you is, man, if you don't smoke weed and you're not around weed all the time, I think you would notice that, yeah, I think you would notice that, I think you would notice that there's like a, I don't know how to describe it, that's why I'm having trouble here. It's like, it just smells like plant, but it smells like weed plant. It doesn't necessarily even smell like THC or a terpene of any kind. It's like some natural oil that the plant puts off. And it seems like for almost all strains, at some point I can smell that and know like, hey, there's a grow here. Like somebody's vegging plants in this area, or somebody has just flowered plants in this area. I don't really know why that is. I can just tell you, I'm so familiar with that smell. I could feel it in my nose. Oh, let's see. Joseph S. says, I'm looking for some indoor gates for my loop. I'm thinking around 5 gates. How much should I expect to spend, and what are some nice ones on a budget? If you're on a budget, I would probably go the Newbie Drone. Newbie Drone does kits of 5 or 10 gates, and they have circle or square gates. That's probably what I would lean towards. Oh, I'm still on this page. I fucked up. Back we go. Let's see. Yeah, I would probably go with the Newbie Drone gates if you were trying to go cheap. I think those are decently like priced for the quality. If you're going LED, it's going to be not a lot of choices. Most of the LED gates are really expensive unless you're building your own. Somebody said the Mobility gates. What do those even cost? Let's see. Those are like a 3D printed gate this guy is selling. I think there's a, I'm sure there's still a file for it. Let's see. Yeah, I wouldn't call these cheap. A 3-piece set of Mobilities are $48, so cheaper than the Weebly gates, but still fairly expensive. CMYK FPV says, Paul Stamets is where I learned about mycelium. Incredible. Yeah, Paul Stamets is really intelligent mushroom guy. Has a lot of information about mushrooms and the life and the soil food web where with mushrooms. Pretty fly for white guy says, I can straight smell grows too. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I'm always like walk by and I'm like, oh, there's a grow in there. It's so weird. DJ Dub says spreading the good vibes. 108 people watching and 80 likes. Yeah, man, 84 likes I can see on my side now. It's really awesome. You guys are killing it. If you haven't liked it, it'd be cool if you liked the stream, but I mean, right now, I've had almost 600 playbacks over the course of this thing, so I think we're getting scattered likes, you know what I mean? But it's still awesome to see so many people here, man. My previous streams were definitely not at 109 users, so appreciate you all being hanging out. Just because it's heading out, thanks for coming by, man. Good night. CMYK says, thanks for the book recommendations, the Trinity. Yeah, I want, one of the people I eventually want to interview is Paul Stamets. Or, I'm sorry, well, Paul Stamets too. But Jeff Lowenfeld is on my list of people to interview 100%. Crack at FPV says, got a shower and crash. Good night, everybody. Good night, man. Thanks for stopping by. $39 for 6-piece mobility gates without LEDs. Yeah. Robert Rempel says S-Bus works with the CC3D, so yeah, you should be fine there. You just maybe want to look at like S-Bus setup on CC3D. Probably could Google that. So. Michael Bent says, when do you think Remote ID will come out? I think we're expecting Remote ID to be out any day. I think last year it was like right around Christmas or New Year, somewhere in that bracket, when the NPRM came out. So I would expect to see it around that time. And what implications will it have on FPV? Well, I mean, it'll make it illegal to fly any quad that's over 250 grams that you build because they won't have a remote ID chip on them. But we really don't know, unfortunately. Yeah, we really don't know, unfortunately, anything about like what the actual final rule will look like. If it looks like remote ID NPRM, then you'll only be able to fly at designated flying sites called FRIAs that are assigned by a community-based organization. The rules for a community-based organization will be published sometime along with the new final rule from the FAA. So yeah, if that works out like that, then community-based organizations will have to define and have places where you can fly called FRIAs. Then any quad that's more than 50% hand-built will not be able to have remote ID and will be locked to a FRIA. Any quad under 250 grams with current law would be fine and not restricted to any of these laws, which is why you see so much 250 gram stuff going on, yeah, out there. FPV truckers coming by. How's it going, man? Brandon's Big Beans came back. Oh, that was quick. It's 5 o'clock. Summer says, do you have a favorite LiPo manufacturer? I really like the Newbie drone, Nitro Nectar Golds. I'm going to call those out in the whoop size. When we're not talking about whoop size, probably like CHNL or, I mean, I have a bunch of RDQ packs. Those seem good. The GNB packs or the RDQ packs, they seem good. So 98 likes. All right, 2 more likes, guys. 2 more likes is all I need. I don't want to like beg here, but it'd be pretty cool to get 100. So HB's back. Awesome, man. Thanks for coming back. Can anyone recommend a long-range 5-inch prop for 2208 1700 kV? I'm going to guess like a bi-blade is probably best, but on the 5-inch, I'm not really sure. Like an S3, something even lighter than that. Yeah, I don't have anything offhand. Maybe somebody else can give a good recommendation. Double A's here. You're killing the stats. Awesome, man. Appreciate it. 112 likes. Okay, well, that worked. Appreciate you guys all doing the likes. We got a quick jump there. Jeez. Wow, that is awesome. We have 113 likes and 113 viewers right now. We are over the view count. You guys are freaking killing it. Freaking killing it. Go-Kart Mozart says, I doubt local cops will get updated on the new drone law right away. So from my understanding, when the final rule comes out, it'll be 2 to 3 years, typically 3 years, before the actual implementation will happen. So you won't be able to be held accountable for about 3 years. And then, so 3 Decembers from now, that's when you have to worry about the cops or somebody stopping you. Oh, Henry woke up. He sure did. What do you think about graphene batteries? I don't know enough about graphene batteries. I've heard they're not a scam, but that they're not that much better. Um, maybe shoot that question over to Bardwell so he can put some graphene batteries in his testing. Because I think he is testing some batteries, so maybe he can get somebody to send him some graphenes. Benjamin, thanks for the kind words, man. Really appreciate it. Brandon's Baked Bean says, I pushed the like button and my PID error improved. Well, I can't speak to that. Yeah, a couple guys are saying, Samuel Rivera and Nachi10 are saying real graphene batteries are not a scam. So yeah, I would definitely like to see some testing on those and see, because I have heard that from other people that they are not a scam. Yeah, you have scammy company labeling them as graphene, so that makes sense. Do for FPV, almost missed the Domino's guy. He gave him a $15 tip, so that's appreciated. Just so you guys know, I worked pizza for like 4 years, and most drivers are happy as long as you give them $5, no matter what the order is. Don't stiff your pizza driver. That's just a hot tip, because you'll get on a list. Redding says, I pushed the like button and now I understand PID tuning. Again, I can't speak to that, but hey, if that happened for you, I'm so excited. Samuel Rivera says, like a legit graphene battery should be near $200 for something like a 1300 milliamp. I don't think the RC graphene batteries are real. It'd be interesting to talk to somebody who knew the battery tech. I can explain a little more about what a graphene battery should be. Joseph S says graphene branded batteries. Yeah, they're just graphene's supposed to be a type, like a way you can make the battery, from my understanding. So, like components. Tech Time says, "What time is your stream over? What time? Whatever time it is over. I don't know. We don't really have a time, so we'll go until I get tired, which is not too long from now, probably. But hey, we're still going. So, Brandon's Big Bean says, How much should I tip my weed driver? My answer to that would be, I don't know. Really don't know. 5 to 10% probably is what I'm going to tell you, but I really don't know. At least $5. I hope you're tipping a weed driver $5. Joseph S says, we're talking Turnigy graphene? Yeah, I'm not sure if Turnigies are real graphenes or not. Benjamin YouTube's YT, I guess that's YouTube, says, what's your preferred flight style? I am a 4S battery on a 6S motor kind of person. I don't use much top end and I don't really punch out a lot. I am smooth. Yeah, trying to keep it smooth. Basically, it's my whole goal. Jose, thank you so much for your subscription, man. Really appreciate it. Lawrence Martin's out of here. Awesome. Take it easy, man. Yeah, Joseph S says, well, that's confusing. I thought you were talking about Turnigy graphene. Well, Turnigy graphene is calling their batteries graphene batteries, but the argument is that it's very likely they're not actually graphene batteries. They're just calling them graphene batteries. Sammy Rivera says 15%. Yep. Let's see. Tiago Ramos says, as far as I know, the advantage of graphene is protection of the poles, so the battery lasts longer. Interesting. What do you think about the Tattoo 4s? I don't know anything about them. I've not tried them. Stevo43068 is here. Hiya, how's it going, man? Go-Kart Mozart says the dog just got his 3 feet of exercise. He sure did. We'll just put him, now he's chilling on the, over here, so put him on the camera. Sim Rivera says this is SZ. Awesome. I wasn't sure. I thought so. Slow Entropy. Hey, from Awesome, mate. Listening while at work. Awesome, guys. Joseph S. says, yeah, they're definitely not. They just have a special cell structure and they're a little thicker. So they last longer and have a little more power than standard lipos. Interesting. Again, I'd like to see some testing on those. Maybe some of these companies will send JB more batteries. So we can get those tested. All right, guys, it has been about 2 hours and 20 minutes since I started streaming. I think at this point, I'm going to have to call it a night. I do appreciate everybody coming. I want to remind everybody I have a Discord link in the description. So you're welcome to join my Discord if you'd like for free. I also have a Patreon if you'd like to get a Patreon status in there, $3 or $10 tier, or name your own, of course, as Patreon does. I also have a direct Discord link if you'd like to Discord donate to me on Streamlabs. Yeah, and I do a weekly news show with Bardwell, the FPV news, on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. MST. However, I think we're taking a couple weeks off of that, so we'll likely be back on January the 5th for the FPV news, streaming with Bardwell. But I will be back next week, 6 p.m. MST on Wednesday, to stream for you guys again. I really appreciate you guys showing up. Again, I just can't say thank you enough for the amount of people that have shown up and are here. So take it easy, guys. Have a wonderful night. And let me know if you need anything. My email's always open. It's bluntfpv@gmail.com. Or again, join my Discord in the description. Thanks, guys.